So safety doesn't include preventing someone from dying from cancer.
You don't. Wait, hold up. Having universal health care doesn't prevent people from dying from cancer because once again, you cannot be denied treatment in the United States when you go to the hospital. You have to be treated. You're just going to be stuck with the bill afterwards. So having universal health care in the United States physically would not save anyone's life. The system we currently have saves people's lives because the hospitals are not allowed legally. They would go to jail for denying people health care because they felt they didn't have the means to pay them back, right? You're just stuck with the bill after. That's it.
My name is Cameron, and I want to know your thoughts on universal health care.
Hi, Cameron. I'm Cameron as well.
It's only right Cameron's battled it out.
Yeah, right Cameron's battled out. Yeah, I don't think that there should be universal health care. I'd like to hear why you think there should be.
I think there should be because pretty much every other country has universal health care. So I don't understand why America can't, because we're making a lot of money off of taxes, right?
Yeah, but I would never say, in the 1700s, if I was a new and emerging country, I wouldn't say, David, every country in the world is doing slavery. Why aren't we doing it? What the hell? Come on, man. We need to do slavery.
That's an objectively bad thing.
Right. But what I'm pointing out is the fallacy that just because everybody else does something doesn't mean that it's good or you should do it.
You're right about that. But I'm just saying, can we agree that universal health care would be a good thing, just on its own?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't. Yeah,
Look at Italy.
I think that there's only one situation where you have a positive right. You know what a positive right is? Like a right where somebody else owes you something, where somebody else has to work for you to have something, and that positive right is parental obligation.
We pretty much all pay taxes, right?
Right.
So why can't we get something basic like that?
What do you mean? Like the government pay for everybody's medicine?
Why can't healthcare be a right?
Yeah, right. So everybody, so like protection.
We live in a first world country and people are dying of preventable diseases.
Well, it's
so,
not a
like,
right.
to be totally
the only human right is the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, I would like basically think that. So basically, this is where my morals come from. Is like, I don't think that anybody has a positive right except a child to their parent. I think that a child has a positive right to be taken care of by their parent. However, my morality comes from the non-aggression principle. I think that you have the right not to be unjustly aggressed upon. I think that encompasses all rights that you should have. They're all negative rights. So David cannot unjustly aggress me. If he does unjustly aggress me, I have the right to justly aggress him back in self-defense. If David steals from me, I have the same because his theft is aggression. I don't believe that people should be allowed to attack me without reprisal or without defense from me. And I don't think anything outside of that should be considered a legal right. Particularly not people working for you to basically provide you with what you want.
Like I said, it's not a handout because people pay taxes.
It is a handout.
No, if you pay taxes.
Not everybody pays taxes.
Okay, most people pay taxes.
Can you give me an example of a successful, example of universal health
And
care?
also the majority of the beneficiaries.
Japan, South Korea.
The majority of beneficiaries
size?
are always people who don't pay taxes.
We have so many people and we have so much money in this country. We're one of the richest countries in the world. So
We have
if you're making
350 million people. It's a little bit different when compared to, like, let's say Sweden is the best example people use for universal healthcare. They make it work pretty nicely, but guess what? It's 6 million people that live there. Israel's relatively the same thing. It's about 8 million or so people. We're talking about something completely different.
People making money. I think it's more sustainable
Also, the government is extremely inefficient with everything they do. Like, Canada has universal health care, for example, but you might be sitting in the waiting room for 6 hours with a broken arm. Like,
That's better than nothing, right?
Wait, no. You're right. It is better than nothing, but you know what it's not better than? Market-based healthcare. Because when you go to the emergency room here, you get a room immediately. You don't sit in the waiting room for 6 hours with a broken arm, and that's because we have a market-based healthcare system.
Not if you can afford it. It happens regardless.
No, yeah. So by the way, it's not if you can afford it, because it's been law in the United States since the 1980s that a hospital cannot turn somebody down because they think that they cannot pay for something or they don't have the financial means to pay for something. You treat them and you bill them after. You don't even talk about money until you treat them. That is current U.S. federal law.
And we all know Grady.
Go to jail for getting sick. Why should somebody go to prison or jail for
Wait, who goes to jail for getting sick?
If you get billed and you can't pay the bill.
You might end up on
you are given something that costs money, and therefore because you are the beneficiary of that thing, obviously you should have to pay for it.
That's not in your control, especially if it's like a child, right?
Okay, if I get in a car accident Like,
Huh?
I strongly agree with you guys because where I'm from in India, they make you pay before, and if you don't have the money, you refuse to care.
yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
And if you want to get free medical care, you have to take it to a medical college, which is owned by the government. But that's for young doctors to learn on you. So that's
Nah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Can I
It's
just say?
also run by the government of India. I'm not saying they're bad, but it's a huge populated country. So you can guess how bad it's going to turn out.
And how inefficient it is. But you know Grady, right? I'm sure everybody here knows Grady. We're 1 mile away from Grady Hospital. Grady's the hospital,
thought it was
right?
a person.
You know Grady.
I don't.
Oh, it's Grady.
Grady.
That's Grady right there. You see
That's
Grady?
good. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
We're all looking at Grady. Do you know how Grady operates? Let's say I don't want to say you, let's say somebody has a kidney failure. They have no money, can't do anything about it, no insurance whatsoever. They go to Grady. Grady's fully funded by donations. They get in line, they have their operation, they get 2 months, 3 months, or whatever it is. They have their operation for free. They don't get a single bill from there. My parents' friends had heart surgery, couldn't afford it whatsoever, didn't have insurance. He went to Grady, had his surgery 2 months later, didn't see a single bill. Why? This is your example of universal health care.
And by the way, in the United States,
Every
while we
state
might not
has
have
that.
universal health care, what we do have is Medicare and Medicaid.
There
so
you
the
go.
old people and the poorest don't pay for their health care.
You know,
Right.
I think Grady Hospital is great, but not every state has access to something like that, and that's why I think it
Wait,
should
every
be-
state has Medicare and Medicaid. Every state's a federal
I'm talking
program.
about a hospital like that.
Every
But-
single
but
state
every-
has that, though.
but
a lot
every
of
single state.
hospitals are privatized.
Sure, but every single state, if I'm not wrong, there's at least one, if not two. I believe it's two, actually, but I believe there's one state that has one. That's why I say that. But every single state has, I keep saying it, at least one or two of these. When you're looking at it.
And every state has Medicare and Medicaid to ensure
Yeah.
that the elderly and the poorest of people don't pay for their health care. The only people who pay for their health care are the people that have money.
That's great, but that building right there is not run by the government, is it?
No, it's donations.
I know
It's
what
state
It
run,
shouldn't
it's
be up to
donations.
The government should take care of its people, right?
Sure,
Yeah, I
but
disagree.
What is the government for then? What is the
public
government
safety. So I have
Just
individual
like
liberties.
safety.
I have a social contract with the government that I forfeit some individual liberties. In exchange, I get public safety. I'm not guaranteed universal health care because of that. Like, I'm not going to guarantee you a job because we have some social contract or whatever. The role of the government, in my opinion, is to provide me public safety. Sometimes it fails to do so, like with the ATF.
So safety doesn't include preventing someone from dying from cancer.
You don't. Wait, hold up. Having universal health care doesn't prevent people from dying from cancer because
They can at least get treatment.
once again, you cannot be denied treatment in the United States when you go to the hospital. You have to be treated. You're just going to be stuck with the bill afterwards. So having universal health care in the United States physically would not save anyone's life. The system we currently have saves people's lives because the hospitals are not allowed legally. They would go to jail for denying people health care because they felt they didn't have the means to pay them back, right? You're just stuck with the bill after, that's it. Nobody dies due to lack of health care in the United States. The only people that die in the United States are the people who, like, are either dead on the spot or choose not to go to the hospital.
And also the whole, they can't afford it and stuff like that. We just go back to the Affordable Care Act. We go to Medicaid, Medicare. There are various social safety net programs. Okay, Medicaid, let's say all the health services were cut by $800 billion for the next 10 years. That's $80 billion over every single year. Do you know how much fraud there is in those programs? In Medicaid alone, there's $60 billion of fraud every single year. So when we remove $80 billion from their funding, guess what we can do with that $80 billion every year? Maybe create various agencies to help, whatever the case may be. But that's just the reality of it. We're not cutting Medicaid. Like nobody's going to wake up in the morning.
The bill, by the way, doesn't say we're cutting $80 billion from Medicaid. It says we're going to remove fraud.
Yeah.
People are just estimating that there will be $80 billion worth of fraud. That's why you're hearing $80 billion.
Why would people?
We don't
Don't
think
ask me.
that-
The experts you're citing think there's $80 billion of fraud because Trump said I'm going to cut fraud, and they said, "Yup, it's going to be $80 billion a year."
It's the
Right?
Government
So it's not me
Accountability
saying that.
Office.
Yeah. So also
Nonpartisan.
another thing you can do is because it's not a hard and fast cut. They're not saying we're cutting $80 billion from Medicaid. Is you could even take that $80 billion that were going towards fraud and put it back into Medicaid and not do fraud with it. You know what I mean? Or not do ineffective, inefficient things, because I also think our healthcare system is very inefficient, especially the government-run one.
Very inefficient. And one last thing I want you to think about is a lot of people that are recipients of the Affordable Care Act are actually Trump supporters. So why would Trump shoot his own supporters in the foot? I want you to imagine a Trump supporter wakes up in the morning and is suddenly, hey, why am I not getting $400? I'm getting $200. Oh, this is directly tied to Trump. Why would conservatives do this? Why would Trump Why would the Republican Party do that? They don't do that. They don't think. They're elected officials. Sorry, I have bad hearing. Like, but like, come on, like,
I
just
think
common
the truth is
sense.
it's to save money. When they're cutting things like Medicaid and Medicare, it's so these institutions can save money. That's
But
all
what
it
if
is.
it's
not about
fraud, right? Like, we know that it's fraud. What if it's whatever amount of fraud, and we're just eliminating that fraud? Do you agree with that?
If it's fraud, why are there so many disabled veterans not getting health care?
Hey, Jose. What was it?
If there's fraud, why is there so many disabled veterans not getting health care?
Because the VA sucks.
VA sucks. That's your universal health care.
Yeah, exactly. The VA is literally universal healthcare. It's government-run healthcare.
It's you've made our point. Like
The American Medical Association. That's the problem. It's a cartel.
We can't. Like nobody is going to be just get in line, bro. I know you've been talking on the sideline. Get
So
in
you
line.
agree we need better veterans health care? I think we need better universal. Can you at least agree we need better veterans health care then?
I think that veterans should be able to absolutely access way better health care. Absolutely. I think that the program should be much more efficient and actually treat American veterans.
Here's what the veteran should get is the government should say, basically, here you served this country and you served your country until you retired, and obviously having health care is one of the benefits of having served your country. Okay. Instead of doing it through VA government-run institutions, VA hospitals, VA doctors, give them the money they need to go get treated at a private facility and allow them to get effective treatment. My mother's a veteran. She's an Air Force veteran. You know how she's right now actively, still to this day, struggling to get her benefits. Like, she can't get them, right? So, I totally agree with you that veterans need better healthcare, but I don't think
it's a problem under this administration. You can admit that.
it's a problem under every administration.
administration.
Yeah, it's a problem under every administration. And I'm not a monolith. I don't agree with Trump on everything, but I don't think that. I think Trump has done a lot to he's increased the VA budget. He's also increased the VA budget under when COVID was happening, and he gave them a ton of money. It was one of the first things he did. Is he just pumped a ton of money into the VA because he knew that the VA would get hit the hardest during COVID. And
the amount of people that are not covered by it, I believe Biden administration actually did a pretty good job of extending it to individuals that were impacted by the pit burns in Iraq. Trump's executive order actually made it possible for everybody. So if you are a veteran in 2020, for example, you are now qualified for it.
Yeah, I think we just need to make it not government run and basically give them the money or the resources they need to get treatment and just let them go to a private hospital and not some inefficiently run. Be ever been to the DMV? It's I would declare war on the DMV.
Yeah.
I hate the DMV, and that is the most perfect example of a horribly run government institution. Is the VA or sorry the DMV?
Why?
Oh my God! Because nobody wants to do their job at the DMV.
Oh, that's true.
And because they all get paid nothing, and they have no managers, and they just sit oh my Lord.
I think we all hate the DMV here. Has anybody had a good time at the DMV before?
Anybody had a fun time at the DMV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mad at you.
You gotta go one time. That's it.
No, one time, bro. They said, all right, we don't really know what to do here. Come back in a couple days.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they do the same thing. Come back in a couple days. Come back in a couple days. Okay.
For my
Hey,
tips.
Exactly.
Can we talk about gun control?
That's insane.
I heard
Sure.
So, why do you think anybody should be able to own an assault rifle? Just
What is an assault rifle?
Kill somebody with it.
That's every gun.
Yeah.
like an AR-15.
Yeah, I don't think an AR-15 is an assault rifle. It's not created for assault. It's made for civilian use specifically. Armalite made it as a civilian rifle. It's meant for civilians.
Okay, what is the military use?
The military uses M4s.
Military
And
grade
M4.
weapons.
Huh? An M4?
Can people buy M4s?
They can't right now. I think they should be allowed to.
Okay,
I
but
think they should too.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, we don't agree on shit.
Can I ask you what prompted
Thanks, too.
the question regarding gun reform? Do you believe there's not enough gun reform?
yeah. Listen, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I think there should be more gun reform.
And what would you like exactly?
Because this country has so much history with guns, and it'd be impossible to take guns from everybody.
I agree.
I
or
think.
anything like that. So I just think we need reform. We need better background checks. We need better things like that.
Well, I think we already have background checks when you buy a
we
gun,
need more
and a lot
extensive
of.
background checks. The people with mental health
What
issues
would you
are
like
getting
to see?
guns.
You can't check for mental illness, right? And also, because you have a mental illness doesn't mean you shouldn't be allowed to own guns. You can't start taking people's rights away just because they're mentally ill. So like you have to demonstrate that you've done something.
I kind of disagree. I
You
think
have to-
somebody who's like a schizophrenic, somebody who's
Not all schizophrenics are violent. And also, if I have ADHD, what am I mentally ill now? Can transgender people not possess firearms? You can't just say, oh, this person has a mental illness. They can't. Now we're going to take your rights away, right? What's next? Speech? They're not allowed to talk anymore. Oh, the schizophrenics are annoying. Take their speech away.
Okay,
like
like
I don't know.
like
It's
a
just
mental
it's just
illness that
extreme
could cause
slippery
somebody to
slope.
be violent.
What about smoking weed?
But also
I think that should be legal.
It should be illegal?
It should be legal.
Legal?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And,
if you,
I just want to say something real quick before we move over to marijuana.
No,
I just want to say on
that's
gun
gun
control.
guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know.
Yeah.
As it relates to gun control, if you believe in the Second Amendment, James Madison, the author of the Constitution, not only believed that the Second Amendment should cover firearms, and they had firearms, like high rate of fire firearms, the puckle gun, the belt and flintlock, but on top of that, James Madison personally wrote a letter that approved people to have cannons. I think we should
I was bring it back.
get the cannons.
What did Biden say? We can own
I mean, the country's
F-16s?
different than it was back then. They didn't have school shootings back then.
They had the Boston Massacre.
That's way different.
You're like, but anyway, like, yeah. So it doesn't matter. Like, just because you have school shootings doesn't mean you can't have guns, right? Like, I could stab David. Right. Well, hold up, real quick. I don't think that means you should restrict guns. I can stab David right now with my kitchen knife. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't be allowed to have knives in my kitchen, or that I should have the ATF breathing down my shoulder because I have knives in my kitchen.
Okay, that's not a fair comparison because the
Totally it
all
is.
the guns are stolen. Guns are way
What'd he say?
more.
Didn't Trump freeload there?
Guns are way more.
It was Kodak Black and ASAP Rocky. That's what it was.
He did free ASAP Rocky.
I think he
freed a lot of them.
Pardoned Lil Wayne, yeah.
He freed a lot of rappers.
Has anybody with a knife by themselves killed 17 people?
I don't know about 17 people. I don't know the exact number, but they've killed multiple people. We've had that happen a couple days ago in
Okay,
the
but the
UK.
numbers we see with gun violence are way higher than anything with knife violence.
I think UK, France, and
That's
Germany
literally
would
not true.
disagree.
You're advocating that assault rifles be banned, but there are literally more people killed by multiples in this country every single year. If you look at Table 8 of the FBI's Universal Crime Reporting Database, there is more homicide by knife in this country than there are by rifles, and that includes the AR-15. In fact, there are more people killed in this country every single year with bare hands than there are killed with rifles. There are more people killed with blunt objects every single year in this country than there are people killed with rifles, but you want to ban those rifles despite the fact that they account for the least amount of homicide.
Well, what you just said is kind of obvious because not everyone has access to rifles. Not everybody can afford rifles, so that's different. Of course, there's going to be more violence.
So how much more reform do you need?
Yeah, right.
If you just said it, right? It's not too many people. I disagree with that. There's 400, right? 400 million.
Yeah, if you want a rifle, you can get one.
Yeah, you can get one, but kind of made our point there.
Again, I still don't get why anyone needs me.
What?
I think it could be lots of. I don't get why you need a camera. Why do you need a camera? Why is it?
Because I like to take pictures.
Because you like to take pictures. I like to shoot guns. I also like to feel
Guns are used
protected,
to
and
kill
my family likes to feel protected. They are used to kill people sometimes. They're also used to kill deers. They're used to kill tyrants. They're used to kill people who want to do you harm.
Okay,
And
so
that's why
then
you should be allowed to have them. But ultimately, me liking having a gun is a sufficient reason for me to be allowed to have guns. We're free in this country. I'm not infringing on anybody's rights by possessing a firearm. I like to go to the range and shoot.
Well, some people do.
Some people do what? Some people do, and those people should be in jail or dead.
Okay, but you can't just say that after they've already done those things.
Right, but the
They've
gun
done things
didn't
that
do
can't
it.
be
They
undone.
chose to do it, not the gun. The gun doesn't shoot it. So again, like, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm gonna go back home, and I'm gonna load my gun, and I'm gonna put it on my porch and see if it shoots anybody that walks by. Guarantee it won't.
Okay, well let's think of another first world country. I believe Japan has over 300 million people, 200, 300 million people. They have less than 10 gun deaths a year. Why do we have tens of thousands of them?
Culture.
Yeah, and so
Culture.
that culture should change. If it's resulting
I
in tens of thousands.
literally could not agree with you more. The culture in the United States needs to change, not the rights that you possess. You shouldn't take people's guns away. You need to change the culture, which is very difficult, but that's how you need to do it.
Can I just ask real quick? Are law-abiding citizens the ones that are committing these crimes?
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say about what about the guns that are not really bought or in the market illegally or made illegally?
The majority of guns that are crimes that are committed with handguns.
Crimes are
Yeah.
due to guns that are not licensed properly or given in through proper channels, right?
I don't even think your guns should be licensed properly, but hey, here we are. Like either way, like it just goes to show that your gun control ultimately doesn't work. People are still going to get guns. They're still going to kill people with those guns, and you're not going to be able to stop it. The best solution is having somebody else with a gun.
Listen to this. I have a statistic. According to the National Institute of Justice, 77% of mass shootings are committed with a weapon obtained illegally.
You mean Fauci
Okay.
Institute of Health? Fauci Institute of Health?
But that doesn't change the fact that you're still more likely to get struck by lightning in the United States than you are to be shot and killed by a rifle, including an AR-15.
That doesn't mean people.
Again,
should
you're
be
more
shot.
likely. I'm more likely to like David is more likely to get strangled by somebody's hands or kicked to death than he is to be killed with a rifle, regardless of who you are. You're more likely to be killed with a knife. You're more likely to be killed with a blunt object. Rifles are last on the list. I think
irrelevant.
shotguns might be ahead.
That's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant because earlier you said that the majority of people are killed by automatic rifles, assault rifles. You started this conversation by advocating that we ban assault rifles.
You can't
But
stop
almost
somebody
nobody
from,
gets killed by
you know,
assault rifles. Less
using
than
their hands
300 a
to
year.
kill somebody, but you can't stop somebody from getting a gun.
Sure you can. You
killing
can ban their
someone.
hands. There we go.
Okay, that obviously doesn't make sense.
No, I would say it obviously doesn't make sense to ban rifles.
Yes, it does.
Does it make sense to ban knives?
Okay, like I said, let me restate it again. I didn't say to ban guns. I said we need reform.
Does it make sense to reform knives or reform hands?
Knives are less dangerous than guns
Knives account for more homicide every year than
because
guns.
they're easier to access.
Okay.
So what do we do? Okay, perfect. They're easier to access. What do we do about the knives now?
We don't need to restrict knives.
Well, if they're
Why?
easier
They
to
commit
access,
crimes to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're easier to access. Clearly, people have too much access to knives in this country. You know, they're committing.
Ban my kitchen knife.
What is it? I think it's 3 times more homicide with knives than it is with rifles. If there's too much access to knives, we should just ban them.
Beautiful.
What
It's
do you
much easier to conceal it.
Way easier to conceal it than a rifle. Again, if I walked onto this campus with an AR-15, everybody'd be,
Yeah.
what is that guy doing? Why does he have a rifle on this campus?
You might get shot first.
But a knife or a handgun, I can just put in my belt and nobody would know it's there.
But that's not going to be used in mass killings. Knives are not going to be used.
How about
by
this?
One person to commit a
If
mass
I wanted,
killing
if,
because
the
police
best
are gonna
way,
shoot them.
the best way to kill a lot of people is to pull a fire alarm and run everybody over with your car. Do we ban cars? Because I promise you that if you ban firearms, bad people, disgusting and ill people are going to think of way better ways to kill people than with guns. More disgusting ways and ways that kill way more people than guns will.
Like they did, I don't even want to go to Israel, never mind. Like I experienced real, bombings, right? When there's no guns, there's no knives, that's probably what's going to end up happening. Oh, not the knives, sorry. When you start to restrict the guns, they're going to go, listen, mentally ill people that have been radicalized to commit whatever crime there is, they're going to find the weapon to do it regardless of the laws. They're already breaking the law in the first place. Just because you're restricting their ability to access gun isn't going to stop them from wanting to commit that. So at what point do we stop talking about the gun part and we actually start to talk about the person?
But I think statistics show that since so many guns being used in mass shootings are obtained illegally, it would make a difference if we have gun reform. And another thing, there's
What
less,
kind of
listen,
reform? I'm open
we have
to
proof
it.
that it works because there's less gun
But
violence in blue
but
states.
your statistic is an admission in and of itself, right? So you're advocating for gun reform because you think that it would stop mass shootings, but you said yourself
it
70
would reduce them. You can't completely stop
70% of all mass
like you said,
shootings.
There's over 400 million guns in the country. You can't fully stop
You said
them, but
seven-
you can lower them.
70% of
As
all
we've
mass
done
shootings.
in places like California.
Sure, you said that 70% of all mass shootings are carried out with legal
77%.
weapons. 77. So what does that mean? That means that over 20%, almost a quarter of all mass shootings are done with legally obtained weapons. So clearly it didn't stop the illegally obtained weapons. So clearly it didn't stop those people. Your own statistic is an admission that it doesn't work because almost a quarter of all of the shootings that happen are illegally obtained firearms.
You're comparing 23% to 77%.
No, I'm not comparing 23% to 77%. What I'm saying is that the 23% is an obvious, glaring proof that the gun control doesn't work because you have almost a quarter, half of a half, of all of the mass shootings with
compared
the
to
illegal.
77%.
Right, yeah, of course, right. But the fact of the matter is, again, and you want to know something else? Every school shooting is carried out in a gun-free zone. All of them. So actually, gun control is present for every single school shooting that's ever happened in the history of ever, because they all happen in a gun-free zone. But when somebody walked into that school, they didn't say, "Whoa, I can't bring my gun in here." didn't stop them. There was nobody there to stop them. They brought their gun through the imaginary barrier of the gun-free zone, and they killed innocent people.
They could have been stopped if they never got the assault rifle in the first place.
If
Well,
they didn't
that
get the
brings
assault
us-
rifle, they would have used something else.
Exactly. Right? I mean, like, if a person is deranged enough to commit the
If they
crime,
had to substitute, they would have had to use something like
And-
a
and
pistol
again-
with 12 rounds. That's a
and
lot
again-
less deadly.
well, they still would have
Wait,
committed
no.
the crime.
Pistol with 12
People
rounds is not a lot less deadly. 45% of all homicide in this country is committed by handguns. They're easily concealed. They're more easily concealable, and they have less
They're
recoil.
mostly committed with assault rifles.
I don't even know if that's true, but it doesn't change the fact that the underwhelming like minority of violence in general in this country is carried out with rifles. Almost none of it. Again, you're more likely to be stabbed, kicked to death, or hit with a blunt object and killed than you are to be shot and killed with a rifle.
It's more preventable with rifles. It's not with handguns. People are always going to be able to get handguns.
Explain to me how it's preventable. If you tomorrow outlawed anything besides a handgun, okay? If a person wants to go obtain a choice of weapon to commit a school shooting, what is going to actually stop them from actually doing that?
Burbeck.
You think some kind of restriction or reform?
With a handgun?
Okay, we ban all guns, right? And their choice is a high capacity weapon. Are they gonna go obtain it illegally through the black market? Buy it off the streets? I understand it's gonna be harder, but they have the motivation to do it in the first. Not motivation's hard. They want to do it in the first place. So
You know what? You're admitting it's hard. So if we can't make it harder for school shooters, I don't.
what I'm asking you, how do you do that?
Is this man bothering you guys?
Like, how? Have you got? I'm guessing you don't own a gun, right?
No.
Have you gone and with a
Yeah.
friend to see what it's like to obtain
No, I'm
a
not.
gun?
Nothing
Here in
required.
Georgia. Okay. What is the process like?
Yeah.
yeah, we can
There's no cameras over there.
Well, no, you don't just walk in, like, grab a water bottle and walk out.
I'm sure they already did the background
I was
check.
gonna ask you about.
They didn't do a background check beforehand, right? He went in, he said, I want to buy a gun. It's a whole process that goes through it, including a background check. And we're in Georgia, where there's not too many gun restrictions whatsoever. So the process is actually
But,
really
I feel
hard
like
to
one
obtain a
shouldn't
gun.
be
Sure, you can walk out in
desensitized
30 minutes and get a gun. I think it should be in 5 minutes, like
Two
Cam
shouldn't
said.
have got killed, but
But the
also
reality of it is that you
opinions
still
on
haven't
saying,
explained to
like,
me any sort of gun reform, like any additional gun reform that you want to institute that prevents this from happening in the first place.
I love guns.
And I just want to say, do we have a line behind? Are you guys asking questions? Okay. We'll do like about 2 more minutes. All right? Fair enough.
Okay. So, what was his opinion on guns? Just they should be restricted.
I believe in the Second Amendment, but I think there should be more reform.
So more background checks,
Yeah, more extensive background checks.
more extensive background checks. Okay. So, how more extensive can we go?
We need to go into mental illness. Any possible.
Yeah, mental illness. Yeah, sure. I totally agree with you. If you have a diagnosed mental illness and you have schizophrenia or something, yeah, I don't think you should just be able to walk in and buy a gun.
Violent beliefs such as domestic violence should not be allowed to buy a gun.
Like, and then, like, what do you mean by that? Like words, or are you talking about
Domestic
actual,
violence, actual
like just
violence.
beating
If you have
people
a
up?
If you have any history of violence like that, you should not be allowed to own a firearm because that's a big indicator.
Yeah, I mean, if you have if you're beating your wife and you've gone to jail for it, I mean, I believe that's what, a felony? No, like
Felony, probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
so if you have a felony, yeah, you can't get a gun, and you should not get a gun if you have a felony. So, yeah, I would agree with you, but. I mean, I have 4 guns. I have an AK-47. I have, a bunch of other ones. And, I had to go through a background check. I've never committed a crime. I've never even been pulled over in my entire life. Never punched somebody. Super, non-violent. Now, I've never been physically punched. Now, I don't know if I could tell you if I would fight back. I probably would, because, it's my right to fight back if someone's physically harming me. But when it comes down to guns, I feel like I agree with you on a lot of things, but yeah, like for political beliefs, a lot of people like to say, hey, like, if this guy has an opinion I don't agree with, you shouldn't have a gun. I feel like that's a very, very slippery slope, because you can, like red flag laws, for example.
Well, that's the problem that I have, right? I agree with you guys in the sense that mentally ill people shouldn't have access to guns. But one second, but who is going to decide that that person is mentally ill enough to the point of where you are going to deprive them of the Second Amendment? I have a problem with it because I don't really just trust governmental institutions. And if you're going to tell me some psychologist will do it, what if this person inherently has a bias against the Second Amendment or you owning a gun? you will have somebody that is an activist essentially abusing the law to prevent individuals from obtaining a gun. We've seen that happen previously. That's why I'm against red flag laws. Hypothetically, it's a good idea. I agree with you guys. But there's just so much room for abuse for somebody to arbitrarily come and decide that you have a mental illness and deprive you of your rights. I want you to think about that in terms of due process as well. Somebody can come in and decide that you're mentally ill completely and will deprive you of all of your due process rights. That's the same thing with the Second Amendment.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you there, yes. But if you have an actual like extreme case of mental illness, taking drugs and shit, yeah, you should not have
100%.
access to a gun. Now, what he's trying to say is like some doctor can misdiagnose you and then your rights are stripped away.
Yep.
Now, some people do have mental illness like depression. If you have depression, I feel like you should still have a gun as long as you're not suicidal. I mean, it's really up to some people. But
It's not my room
when
to
it comes
judge.
to like flag laws specifically, your neighbor can say, hey, he has a mental illness. I mean, I've seen him lie about him. I have seen him do this to his wife. I've seen him yell at his wife. You know, marriages, you get into fights, you know. And if you hear yelling, I don't feel like that's a problem or a thing that you should be able to take away somebody's rights.
Yeah.
Now, like in Houston, what is it? Dan Crenshaw was in support of, you know, red flag laws. Red flag laws are ridiculous because if I don't like somebody's political opinion, if I walked outside with my MAGA hat on and went in my car and my neighbor saw it, didn't like my political opinion, lie to the cops, red flag laws say cops can break into your house and steal your guns and take them from you on the spot with no due process at all. That's ridiculous.
For a year.
I haven't heard that happen, but you mentioned slippery slope, right?
That's Florida.
Let me just say that we can have things that are more concrete. So if, let's say, for example, if somebody says before they get a gun, that they're just say that if they get a gun, they're going to go up and kill people. Do you think that those people immediately, regardless of whatever they try to say to,
how are you going to be able to judge that? How are you going to be able to determine that?
Yes, if somebody says that they're going to kill people, they shouldn't be allowed to get a gun.
I agree. They say I'm going to go kill. They say I'm going to go kill people, right? Where do they say this? On their social media posts, right? So there's
proof.
There's proof.
There's proof that they say something, that they're going to do something.
That's absolute proof.
And there's
Yes.
that's enough to restrict an individual in numerous states to actually be able to possess a gun.
That's literally, I mean, those are threats against somebody's life. That's illegal in and of itself.
Yeah.
So
You go to jail. I don't know what to tell you.
You go to jail. I mean, that's basically it.
And if somebody misses that, that's the FBI. That's the state, like GBI here, right? They're responsible for that. And we go back to the social contract that give up some individual liberties in order for the government to provide me back public safety.
Wait, hold on. I don't want to be here too long. I have one more thing I want to ask you guys.
All right, because some people are melting behind. I'm kidding. I see, dog. Hey, listen, I melted 2 hours ago.
What are your thoughts on billionaires?
What do you think about billionaires?
I don't think they should exist.
Why?
Because it's selfish. Nobody needs that much money.
So what are you going to do about it?
What
What if a person started in affordable housing, made it all the way up, built a successful company, and now is a billionaire? He went from his mom making $2,000 a month to now he's making billions. Are you going to take that money from him?
No, there should be a cap, so he would never be able to get that much money. I don't think a reasonable cap would be $1 billion.
Okay, so let's think about this. If you cap my ability to grow, what is going to happen with research, development, initiatives?
I'm saying individually for people, you shouldn't have to have more than $1 billion.
What would have happened if you restricted Jeff Bezos from growing his Amazon business to where it is today?
Like I said, that's a business. I'm talking about for individuals. He should be allowed to invest in his business as much as he wants.
I'm sorry, you're talking about generational wealth being passed down? Right, because the only way that somebody becomes a billionaire is either they're passed that money down or they create it.
It's new money versus old money is what it is.
They should either they should be able to get money personally to a certain point, and the rest of that money has to be invested into their business.
Okay. So what's the wealth cap? What would you say? What's your
Like I
wealth
said,
cap?
like $1 billion.
$1 billion. So you do think that billionaires should exist? $1 billion.
No, billions of point where it shouldn't exist.
Okay, if you hit $1 billion, you are a billionaire. So, personally, like Jeff Bezos, he gives a lot of money to charity every year. He does a lot. Obviously, I feel like you're coming at a point of jealousy because people are billionaires And I don't believe that to be inherently wrong. Now, I'm a Christian.
Especially if they earned it themselves.
I'm a Christian. It says
You can't earn $1 billion. You don't.
you can't
What
earn
is
$1 billion.
Amazon? I'm sorry, what is Amazon?
Elon Musk. He's
Elon
earned
Musk?
$1 billion. He's innovated the entire car industry. I
The
mean,
workers are earning that money for him.
no. So he's taking all the risk. He's taking all the risk. So some guy that's working at Amazon factory, if Amazon goes bankrupt, he's fucked. Okay, that worker might lose his job. He can always get another job, but that he's taking all the risk. He's going to be losing billions. He's going to be losing all his money. So he's taking all the risk. Why should a worker get all the reward for that? Are you like would you say a socialist?
So we know the employer has all the power. The worker doesn't really have any power in the situation. Just because they can go get a new job.
I mean, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we should take the billions to the billion. That shouldn't mean that we should take the billions to the person that created the company in the first place. Shouldn't disperse that money to the workers. You already provided them with a livable wage. You may agree that disagree that it's a livable wage. That's fine. But he signed the contract. Nobody's forcing him to take that money.
The minimum wage federally is like $7.25 an hour.
Yeah. Do you know what is the minimum wage at Amazon? It's $25 an hour. So just put boxes up on the shelf. Now imagine how much drivers are being
It's
paid,
more
right?
than that. I can tell you it's more than that.
What is?
They don't just put boxes on shelves. I don't know.
No, I'm talking about the people that just do or what is it called? The people that work in the factory or whatever.
Yeah, one of my friends has worked at an Amazon factory before, and robots do majority of the work. Actually, they're doing. They are literally just putting boxes up and doing that.
Yeah.
They're earning like what, $25 an hour. I would take that. I would take that deal any day. And again, they signed the contract. It's not like you're forcing them to work there. Now, I'm not an anarcho-capitalist like a lot of people would say and be like, okay. Anarcho-capitalism is basically, it goes too far in that direction. I don't know. It's ridiculous. We should swap. We should swap.
We'll swap and we'll go to the next conversation.
Let's go get another person.